Chapter 7. How it happened is impossible to say because it came about step by step, unnoticed. But in the third month of Ilych's illness, his wife, his daughter, his son, his acquaintances, the doctors, the servants, and above all, he himself, were aware that the whole interest he had for other people was whether he would soon vacate his place. The last release the living from the discomfort caused by his presence, and be himself released from his sufferings. He slept less and less. He was given opium and hypodermic injections for morphine, but this did not relieve him. The dull depression experienced in a somnolent condition at first gave him a little relief, but only as something new. Afterwards, it became as distressing as the pain itself, or even more so. Special food was prepared for him by the doctor's orders, but all those food became increasingly distasteful and disgusting to him. For his excretions, also special arrangement had to be made, and this was a torment to him every time, a torment from the uncleanliness and unseemliness, and the smell from knowing that another person had to take part in it. But also through his most unpleasant manner, even Ilych obtained comfort. Gerasium, the butler's young assistant, always came in to carry the things out. Gerasium was a clean, fresh peasant lad, grown stout on tom food, and always cheerful and bright. At first sight of him, his clean Russian peasant costume, engaged on that disgusting task, embarrassed Ivan Ilych. But when he got up from the commode, too weak to draw up his trousers, he dropped into a soft armchair, looking with horror at his bare, infeebled thighs with the muscles so sharply marked on them. Gerasium was a firm, light tread, his heavy boots emitting a pleasant smell of tar, and the fresh winter air came in where clean he seemed as from the sleeves of his print shirt tucked up all of his strong, bare young arms, and refraining from looking at his sick master out of consideration for his feelings, and restraining the joy of life that beamed from his face, he went up to the commode. "Gerasium," said Ivan Ilych in a weak voice. Gerasium started, evidently afraid he might have committed some blunder. With a rapid movement, turned his fresh, kind, simple young face, which just showed the first downy side of a beard. "Yes, sir." "That must be very unpleasant for you. You must forgive me. I am helpless." "Oh, why, sir?" And Jeremy's eyes beamed, and he showed his glistening white teeth. "What's a little trouble? It's a case of illness with you, sir." His deft, strong hand did their accustomed task. He went out of the room, stepping lightly. 5 minutes later, he as lightly returned. Ivan Ilych was still sitting in the same position in the armchair. "Gerasium," he said when the lantern replaced the freshly washed utensil, "please come here and help me." And Gerasium went up to him. Leaping up, it's hard for me to get up, and send Dmitri away. Gerasium went up to him, grasped his master with his strong arms deftly but gently, in the same way that he stepped, lifted him, and supported him with one hand. With the other, drew up his trousers, would have set him down again, but Ivan Ilych asked to be left to the sofa. Gerasium, without effort, without apparent pleasure, led him, and also lifted him to the sofa, placing him on it. "Thank you. How easily and well you do it all." Gerasium smiled again and turned to leave the room. But Ivan Ilych felt his presence such a comfort that he did not want to let him go. "One thing more, please move out that chair. No, the other one, under my feet. It's easier for me when my feet was raised. Gerasium brought the chair, set it down gently in place, and raised Ivan Ilych's legs on it. It seemed to Ivan Ilych that he felt better while Gerizim was holding up his legs. "It's better when my legs are higher," he said. "Please and the cushion under them." As Gerizim did so, he again lifted the legs to please them, and again Ivan Ilych felt better while Gerizim held his legs. When he set them down, Ivan Ilych fancied he felt worse. "Gerizim," he said, "are you busy now?" "Not at all, sir," said Gerizim, and learned from the tongue folk how to speak to gentlefolk. "What have you still to do?" "What I have to do? I've done everything except chopping the log for tomorrow. Then hold my legs up a bit higher, can you?" "Of course I can. Why not?" And Gerizim raised his master's legs higher, and Ivan Ilych saw that in that position he did not feel any pain at all. "And how about the logs?" "Don't trouble about that, sir. There's plenty of time." Ivan Ilych told Gerizim to sit down on the whole leg and began to talk to him. And the stranger silly saying to him that he felt better while Gerizim held his legs up. After that, Ivan Ilych would sometimes call Gerizim to get him to hold his leg on his shoulders, and he liked talking to him. Gerizim did it all easily, willingly, simply, and with a good nature that touched Ivan Ilych. Health, strength, and vitality in other people were offensive to him, but Gerizim's strength and vitality did not mortify, but soothed him. What tormented Ivan Ilych most was the deception, the lie, which for some reason they all accepted, that he was not dying, but was simply ill, that he only need keep quiet and undergo a treatment, then something very good would result. He, however, knew that to do that do what they would, nothing would come of it, only still more agonizing suffering and death. This deception tortured him. They're not wishing to admit what they all knew and what he knew, but wanting to lie to him concerning his terrible condition, wishing and forcing him to participate in that lie. Those lies enact over him on the eve of his death, and that's degraded this awful solemn act to the level of their visiting, their curtains, their sturgeon for dinner, or terrible agony for Ivan Ilych. And strangely enough, many times when they were going through their attics over him, and had been within a hairbreadth of calling out to them, "Stop lying! You know, and I know that I'm dying. And let's stop lying about it." But he had never had the spirit to do it. The awful, terrible act of his dying was that he could see reduced by those who were about him to the level of a casual, unpleasant, almost indecorous incident, as if someone entered the drawing room diffusing unpleasant odor. And this was done by the very decorum which he had served all his life long. He saw that no one felt for him, because no one even wished to grasp his position. Only Gerizim recognized that it pitied him, and so Ivan Ilych felt at ease only with him. He felt comforted when Gerizim supported his legs, sometimes all night long, and refused to go to bed, saying, "Don't you worry, Ivan Ilych. I'll get sleep enough later on." Or when he suddenly became familiar, exclaimed, "If one is sick, it would be another matter, but as it is, why should I grudge a little trouble?" Gerizim alone did not lie. Everything showed that he alone understood the facts of the case and did not consider it necessary to disguise them, but simply felt sorry for his emaciated, inferior master. As when Ivan Ilych was sending him away, he even said straight out, "We shall all of us die, so why should I grudge a little trouble?" expressing the fact that he did not think his work burdensome because he was doing it for the dying man, and hoped someone would do the same for him when his time came. Apart from this lying, or because of it, what the most tormenting Ilych was that no one pitied him as he wished to be pitied. At the certain moments after prolonged suffering wished most of all, though he would have been ashamed to confess it, for someone to pity him as a sick child is pitied. He longed to be petted and comforted. He knew he was an important functionary, that he had a beard turning gray, and then therefore what he longed for was impossible. But still he longed for it. In Jeremy's attitude towards him, there was something akin to what he wished for, and so that attitude comforted him. Ivan Ilych wished to weep, wanted to be petted, and cried over. And then his colleague, Shebek, would come. Instead of weeping and being petted, Ivan Ilych would assume a serious, severe, and profound air, and by force habit would express his opinion on the decisions of the court for cassation, and would stubbornly insist on that view. There's a falsity around him, and within him, did more than anything else to poison his last days.